Welcome to another episode of Journey Podcast. If you stumbled on this podcast on social media, don't stop this video just yet. Just take a few minutes to listen. It's divided into 3 parts. Today's episode is titled The Courage to Be You. Let's start with part 1. God speaking to you. My child, you are wonderfully made. I am absolutely sure about it. I made you. I made you just as you are. I know there's things you don't like about yourself, mostly externally. But before anything else, you are not a mistake. You're not here by coincidence. I've known you before you were even conceived. I've not only known you from before that, but I also have a purpose for you to accomplish. But part of that journey is to love yourself. You are my workmanship, my masterpiece, created beforehand for good works. For everything I have created is good. But when I made you, it was more than good. I've never said you were an appliance. An appliance is replicated by the millions. But I did say you are a masterpiece, and a masterpiece is personally handcrafted. It hurts me when you refuse to be who you really are in Christ Jesus. It puzzles me a bit that you're eager to be like others, observing the external appearances when you have an untapped source of inner peace. I am that source. I know who you are because I made you. Your main focus is to remain connected to me. I did not make you exactly like everyone else. Don't compare your insides to other people's outsides. Don't get me wrong, there's always room for improvement, but I need to remind you that it's not about being like everyone else, or to that matter, being better than everyone else. It's about being better than you used to be. Believe me when I tell you, there's no one else in this world who wants you to be your true self more than I do. When you are true to who you are, I'm so proud of you because you represent me well. In my word, I've commanded you to purposely focus your thoughts about yourself on whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, lovely, of good report. If there's any virtue and if there's anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. Why don't you start today with truth? Embrace authenticity. Let go of who you think you should be and focus on who you really are. Focus on those great qualities I gave you. Stop trying so hard to be yourself. Just remain present with me and know how amazing I think you are. Part 2. A young man named David was about to start a very interesting journey because God chose him to become a king. When the prophet was to find David, he didn't know who it was. So God told him, "Do not look at his appearance or at his physical stature, for the Lord does not see as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." Let me share a personal story. So during a family vacation, we drove to a beautiful place 8 hours away that is known for being perfectly saturated with mountains and rivers. During one of those days, we went for an afternoon swim at a river. I was about 11 years old, and I became friends with another kid my same age who was also swimming there with his family. My new friend and I decided to have a swimming race from one point to another. Our families watched the show. Now, I grew up on an island, so I was very confident of my swimming skills. So confident that I decided to swim against the strongest current. My friend, on the other hand, smartly decided to swim where there was no current coming against him. As the race started, I started to swim with all of my strength, just to find out I was not making progress as I hoped. Seeing that my opponent was taking the lead, I found a bit of extra strength from I don't know where to win this race. Finally, I saw that I was making progress, trying as hard as I could. But my opponent, on the other hand, was barely even trying. He won the race. Today, we are taught that trying harder is better. For example, try harder to make your friends like you. Try harder to get more likes on Instagram. Try harder in the way you dress to impress others. Try working harder at your job. Get burnt out just so you can be validated. And in a way, try harder to be yourself. Can I ask you an honest question? If you've been trying hard for some time now to be yourself, have you made any progress? Or have you made as much progress as you hoped for? What if I told you that instead of trying harder, why don't you try less? Trying less? That doesn't sound right. That's because it is exactly different of what society is telling you. That same one that tells you that you ought to compare your insides with other people's outsides. In the swimming race story, the guy who tried harder lost, but the guy who tried less won. Maybe today you have placed yourself against unnecessary current. Maybe it made you more defensive. Maybe it made you more stressed. But trying less is better. Don't try harder to be yourself. Just be. Trying less means you have stopped being conformed to the world and its superficial values and customs, and you are now being progressively changed as you mature spiritually by the renewing of your mind. So trying less means caring more about what God thinks of you rather than what others think of you. Trying less means being more relaxed. Trying less is to be what it is that you are searching for. Part 3. Take this moment to reflect in what ways you've been trying harder to be yourself this past week. Take this moment now to make a personal, wholehearted prayer, asking Him to teach you how to try less and how to understand how great He is. This was Journey Podcast, Finding the Path to God.